antique store, and there, all good stories start in an antique store. And yeah, I saw this thing hanging on the wall, and I tried to read it, and it did not go well. So I'm going to make you read it now. Here it is, and out loud, please.
Oh, ain't it funny that some folks you can't miss, awesome folks you
and some folks. Sorry, I just be quiet.
That does say awesome, but okay. And some folks you just miss a pile.
Mm-hmm.
And the folks that you can't miss, you see lots. And the folks and the other folks once in a while.
Yeah, that went about as well as I thought it would. So what does it mean?
Okay. Ain't it funny that some folks you can't miss and some folks you just miss a pile? That's one. Then that's a question mark. That's one sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't it funny that some folks you can't miss and some folks that you miss a pile?
This is quality entertainment here that we're creating.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Is that okay?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And the folks that you can't miss, you see lots, and the other folks once in a while. So here's my interpretation.
Okay.
I love how they initialed it down at the bottom, like MMW. So here's my interpretation. Isn't it funny that some folks that you can't miss and some what? Hold on.
I'm telling you, I cannot make sense. Like, at a surface level, I kind of understand it.
I think it's like, isn't it funny that the folks that you don't want to see are the folks that you always see, and the folks that you do want to see, you never see. I think that's kind of the.
I think you're right. It's interesting somebody was passionate enough about this to spend hours making.
You know that someone in their family said this, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, that makes so much sense." It's kind of like we quote my grandpa a lot.
Uh-huh.
So like out of context, one of our favorite quotes is God hates a quitter. And he said in the context of that is we were playing pitch and someone folded or something like that. And he's like, God hates a coward. That's what he said.
Oh,
God hates a coward. And so it's because someone didn't have the guts to go above, like, I think he was shooting the moon or something like that. And so that's just one of the things that we just always say.
Okay. So now
but I don't think I'd ever like hand stitch it on a tapestry or something.
Okay. I'm going to pull a random story from my deck about family quotes. So, my dad's family, when he was really little, lived on 9th Street here in Salina. And that was before the interstates were put in. So the semi trucks would all come down 9th Street. So it's super busy. And my dad's grandparents lived with them in that house. And so it was, a big kind of multi-generational household. And so that oldest generation still had a pretty thick Swedish accent. And but the story was that I guess my great-grandfather, something like that, he would back out of the driveway onto busy 9th Street, just full speed without looking. And people would say, "Why do you do that?" And he said, "Well, they can see me coming." So that's my quote.
I love that. They can see me coming. Oh, shoot. So our guest today is Marci Penner. And Marci is the director founder, along with her father, of the Kansas Sampler Foundation.
They do really important work in Kansas, but I bet a lot of Kansans haven't heard of Marci, but they need to.
Yes. Along with also the Kansas Sampler Foundation. I've never heard of them until this interview. And fun fact, it's not like a foundation that you think a foundation is, and they're not into quilts. I mean, they like quilts, but they don't sell quilts, is what we learned in this. Is one of the things we learned through this episode. So I'll let Marci introduce herself and kind of what she does. So without any further ado, here she is.
Hi, how are you?
How's it going?
Good.
Welcome.
Yeah,
feel
that's
free.
That's such a nice film.
Oh, thanks. I'm
guys
Sydney.
Sydney,
And I'm
Gus.
Gus. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. So I'm gonna
Nice.
move this over here
You're
and then
doing-
just get comfy.
You're doing good in the world.
Oh, well, thank you.
We're trying.
So are
I love
you.
it. Aw,
I'm gonna move it
thanks.
a little bit closer. That weight's not
All right.
here. There you go. Just whatever's comfortable.
Yep.
There you go.
Well, welcome to Ask A Kansan, Marci. Thank you for
Thank
being here
you.
today.
Yeah.
Would you just introduce yourself, however you'd like to do that, and just kind of maybe describe, your childhood?
Wow.
I know that's a place to leap off.
we're starting all the way back.
Yes, Marci Penner. If we're starting all the way back, I'll go to 1874 when our family came over in the Mennonite migration.
Wow.
I loved my childhood. I grew up on that family farm near Inman. And the main memories are the chicken house, which was empty. So us three kids turned it into a restaurant, grocery store, and dirt room. And endless hours being our own early entrepreneurs. And the barn no longer had livestock in it at this point. And when my dad told me they were going to tear it down to clean up the farm, I decided I would run away, which I didn't do, but he had put a basketball goal on the back for me. And and then I built so many tree houses. In other words, life on the farm was just really wonderful. And I think that's where I got rooted. That's little did I know that I would, in all the places I've lived, I would never find contentment like I did on the farm. So that's my home base. That's my roots. That's my square one.
So you grew up in Inman.
Near Inman.
Near Inman. Thank you for that.
It's a different.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
totally fair. And then did you go away to school?
First of all, when you go to Hillcrest and then consolidate with Turkey Creek, going away to school means going to the big city, Inman. But
Wow.
I started at Fort Hays for a year and then went to KU. Series of events, which is, these series of events that you don't plan, that you could never foresee. That's really what makes your journey interesting. And I ended up in Madison, Wisconsin, and got my master's there, which led me to the Philadelphia area for a while and then back to the farm.
And what brought you back?
The dramatic part is that I had had a head injury and could no longer work as an elementary guidance counselor. But it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me because I'm not sure that I could be sitting here today saying I'm not only Kansan by choice, but rural by choice. But I came back because I didn't have many other choices. And the only job I could hold at the time was working with my dad to write a guidebook. So on my good days would go out and, let's see, now 35 years later, what just happened because there weren't many other options has turned into the work I love so much.
And that's the work at Kansas Sampler Foundation
Yes.
that's spilled out into so many other great things. So yeah, make that connection for me. So you wrote a guidebook, and then it ended up kind of forming Kansas Sampler Foundation? Or?
Yeah, I mean, when you're on the road, things happen. And my dad and I noticed two things. One, that Kansans didn't know their own state very well. That was back in 1990. And the other was that some small towns were doing really amazing things, but there wasn't a way to really share that information back then in pre-social media, pre-email days before you guys. I mean, And so we formed our nonprofit to connect communities, share best practices, share hope and belief that rural communities are okay and you can make it. And the other was to educate Kansans about Kansas, but to do it in a way that made a difference. To do it in a way that made them want to spend money in a little grocery store and understand why. To buy some stamps in this little hole-in-the-wall post office and understand why. And to not judge a town just by driving down the main street and seeing all these abandoned buildings, but to rather learn the story and to see what's behind the facade of those empty buildings. And, when you start judging things, that's kind of where you just stop when you're looking at a town or thinking about a person. But when you ask questions, when you're curious, when you've got this explorer soul, the whole world opens up.
You just illuminated something for me that my mom's dad, my grandpa, he had this habit of when he and my grandmother were driving across the state, they would stop and he'd get a haircut in a small town. My grandpa was bald. He didn't need haircuts, but he would stop
and
get
they
a
couldn't
haircut.
mess it up.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
He also had a habit of he was a farmer and he would stop in and trade in their sedan. They're not a super fancy car, but they traded in every couple of years, and he'd always do it in a different random dealership in Kansas. And I'm realizing that was what he was after, was the connecting with people. It wasn't because he needed a car or because he needed a haircut. He just was also looking for that connection. Yeah.
I love that. And that's, he found the secret that opens Kansas. And we try to encourage people, to our Explorer Club members especially, to interact with the locals. And sometimes you have to find a way. And for your grandpa, it was going to the barbershop. If I could share one story.
Yeah, please.
So let's see. I think it was the town of Longford, not too far from here. Mm-hmm. And I was taking pictures in the middle of the street. And you can do that because there's not much traffic. But this lady runs out of the beauty shop with a scissor and with her apron on. What are you doing? Come on in and tell us. And so I go in and talk to the lady in the chair, getting her hair done. And, that's sort of an example of the experiences I've had all over Kansas, is just find a way to make that initial connection, and then boom, everything opens up, and your heart opens up. And I bet your grandpa found that.
Ask A Kansan is sponsored by Cohort Digital, your partner in media strategy and advertising placement. From social media, search, and streaming video to billboards, magazines, and broadcast TV, the experts at Cohort can help you navigate the ever-changing advertising landscape. With more than 75 years of combined experience, they'll build a custom media campaign to get your message seen in all the right places by your target audience. Learn more at cohort.digital. So, Cindy, we've used Cohort for several different projects for Feely, and it's been very successful, and really pleased with the information. Yep. Lisa does a great job.
Yeah, both Feely and Ask A Kansan, we've used both. Basically, we give them the creative, and they really hone in on getting it seen by people. And the best part is you get the results in front of you. Mm-hmm. We got an email from Alyssa and her team yesterday, and it was like, hey, this is what's performing, this is what's not performing, these are the changes we suggest. And it's really they take the work out of the data piece that some people don't really get, and it's great.
And I love there's a lot of organizations in this space doing this kind of work that are just kind of checking a box. But that's not Cohort. They're always bringing their creativity to the task and surprising us in the ways that they find opportunity for our marketing dollars online.
Yep. So make sure to go to their website, cohort.digital. There's no .com. It's just cohort.digital, and learn more. One of the things that we probably not a good word choice, but that we talk about a lot here on the podcast is being curious Kansans.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of the reasons why we love that word is we want people to be curious, because that's when questions start coming up and that's when conversation happens.
Well, and let's go back to the ego for a second. If your ego is such that all you want to do is go tell people everything about you, you miss the opportunity to learn everything about this town or this store or this person. And being curious, wow, it just, with my dad, to make the miles go faster, I would say, why is that fence post different than that fence post? This one's hedge, that one's metal. Or why is this crop like this? Or why do animals do this? And being curious is almost an art, as is knowing how to ask questions.
Any advice you could give?
Well, you guys are really good at it.
Hope so.
But it's noticing the other person or the town, or, when we go into a town, people love being asked about their town. I find some of the best places are to go into the post office. The clerk is kind of captured there, and they're usually, in a small town, they're grateful that you're buying stamps. And they're a great source of information. By the way, they are also the social hub. They are the end stop for isolation in some towns, loneliness. And I've heard that in more than one small town, is I'm the only person people see in a day, they tell me. And if that person doesn't come in every day, they check on them. And that's what curiosity leads to. It leads to usually a deep place in the one being curious, and oftentimes the person you're relating to. And you know what? That's where the good of the world is, because I think one thing I love about Kansas is that the search value. Things aren't just right there, big in front of you, right? I mean, I love that. I love that it's open, it's special to those who are curious. Maybe that's the beauty of curious.
With another guest earlier, we were talking about boxes and how we put people in boxes. And I think it's largely just the human brain. Like we to understand somebody, we compare them to people we already know and try to find those similarities and sort accordingly. But yeah, I think curiosity also encourages us to re-examine the boxes that we create and acknowledge that most people, let's be honest, nobody fits in a box.
Right. But that's such a great observation, this box thing. It's just like, oh, this town is dying because there's half of the stores are closed, or this person must be this way or that way. And then you really sell yourself short by selling them, by putting them in a box. And I have just loved finding what's outside the box. I mean, it makes every day interesting, whether it's on the phone or, but for me, the specialness is being on the road, being in their town, talking to them in their place. And they open up in a different way, especially if you let them be in that context and not try to get them to be in your world. You guys know what I mean.
One of my favorite things about your social media feed is, I don't know how long I've been friends with you or followed you on social media, but you're always asking if somebody knows someone or a source for this. I'm struggling to come up with specifics, but like a town wants a Ferris wheel for their community celebration. You're always that connection person. Can you describe how that came to be, I guess, but also the fun of it?
Yeah, I mean, I did it once. I said, "Hey, network," and then the question. And there were so many answers. And it might be from where can you find homemade ice cream in the state to something much more technical, like where do you find a great graphic design or something else that seems obscure. But the beauty of it is that it gives everybody a chance to share their expertise. And it's really the collective feeling of helping out. So that one question indicates there's a need from somebody, and you have a chance to help. And I think everybody wants to be part of something productive or helpful or successful, even that tiny thing like answering a question. And it's also extremely valuable to the person. And when you do this for 30 years and you've been around the state, every town several times, people get to know you, and I take pride being known as someone who maybe can connect you with someone that knows the answer. And I love social media because I, grew up without it. And when we started, we didn't have it. Boy, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
I'll say even just last Friday, I had someone in here because she wants to build a podcast studio in Northeast Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who I'm talking about? Annalisa.
Oh, yes.
So
she came here?
She came in, and I don't know if you suggested her or not, but as we were leaving, she goes, "You know who you need to have on the podcast?" And I go, "Who?" She goes, "Marci Penner." And like, ironically enough,
that's been mentioned to us several times, by the way.
Well,
but just, because, and this is part of the curiosity thing, is she just randomly stopped by. And because she wants to build something like a co-working space up where she lives. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, heck yeah, because that's potentially, we could also use that.
Wow.
For our pod. I was like, come on in. Let me ask me all the questions. Like, how can we help you?
So Anna was curious.
Yeah,
and
she was curious
here.
and she just stopped.
Good for her.
I mean, so from a little town of Wetmore, and then she goes away to New York and is a professional and comes back to an empty school that she once went to and wants to do something with it, wants to do some good in Wetmore, and she finds you guys.
Yeah.
So she's a great example of being curious and leading to something. Oh, I love that story.
Yeah.
So you are really focused on rural places and helping them succeed and kind of counter the trend that most people live in Kansas are aware of small town kids growing up, moving to the big city, moving out of state, and coming back to visit, but not ever, largely not coming back to live. I'm curious, are there things that we need to be doing to try to counter that, not just that trend, but also that story? And I'm just interested in your perspective on all of that.
Wow. So many things. So I'll try to.
Sorry.
No, it's so true. On one of my guidebook research journeys in the early 2000s, I kept running into these young people, and noticed that in the towns they lived in towns that had 21 to 39s who are doers or leaders in business or town projects or just visible, those towns had a different energy. And so I asked a number of those people to come together, and they were so just coming together with others like them. was so exciting because some of them felt like when they came back, their townspeople, their childhood friends, made them feel like they were losers, even though they lived here their whole lives. They were losers because they came back. They couldn't make it somewhere. And they really needed to be with other people who also chose to come back. They were rural by choice. And when we started using that phrase and finding others, it became more powerful. Oh, you're rural by choice. So that told everybody something right off the bat. I'm not just here because I have to be. I'm here because I want to be. And towns, communities of the future, let's call them, they will be towns that have diversity of thought and culture, which we need people to go out and come back, that know how to engage with all age levels, who listen, who know how to invest. And the last comment is, don't you want to live in a town where you're happy and other people, in a town that likes itself? That's the town you want to live in.
Man.
A town where you're given an opportunity to do something good, that everybody has a chance to engage and make this town great. That's the town you want to live in. And so rural has a bad rep, but there's towns trending in the right direction. And they're really awesome.
This episode is sponsored by Renaissance Cafe. Serving Northern Italian cuisine prepared with a fresh, contemporary influence, the Renaissance Cafe is one of Kansas's favorite restaurants. Whether you're planning a romantic dinner date, a family celebration, or an intimate meal with friends, the Renaissance provides a unique dining experience with an old-world atmosphere. Open Thursday through Saturday evenings, the Renaissance Cafe is located just south of Salina in Assyria, Kansas. Visit renaissancecafeassyria.com to book your reservation today.
I'm going to switch gears here a little bit. Can you tell us specifically what your foundation does and how it helps people today? We've talked about how it was started, but how is it helping people today?
There's two sides of a coin for what we do. And one side, Educate Kansans, about Kansas. So we go to every town in the state to make sure we're catching all the explorer-y things to put in a guidebook. So we produce guidebooks. We have a Kansas Explorers Club, so people can feel a part of a group that is interested in Kansas. We had the Kansas Sampler Festival, which has morphed into the Big Kansas Road Trip, which is choosing, it started with 3 counties, would say, on this weekend, 3 counties are doing like a big open house. They know you're coming. So just come, and they want to show you who they are, just being themselves. But it's not, it sounds like tourism, and tourism, I love being part of that industry, but we're actually trying to create a thoughtful audience for rural. So in our guidebooks, in the newsletter, the Explore Club newsletter, on the road trips, we try to teach the exploring public how to make a difference, or what to notice, or how to have a great experience. So that leads to the other side of the coin, which is the communities and the doers in the town who benefit from that audience. And if we're trying to create an audience, then we also want to try to create communities that are proud of who they are. So we do a lot of supporting and networking on that side of things too, helping communities, from Big Rural Brainstorm once every other year, weekend conference, peer-to-peer sharing, which rather than bring in a national speaker, we just bring people from small towns together to share what they did great, so it relates, feels functional. And duologues and so things just to support small towns at a grassroots level. Not grassroots level, which means there's not much budget, there's not much capacity, and you're probably a volunteer-led town, which is 1,500 population and less, 75% of the cities in Kansas.
Wow. What led you guys to the name Sampler, Kansas Sampler?
Yeah. And foundation, which is not true. I mean, you think of foundation, you think they give money.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we just didn't understand the term. We're a nonprofit that would be glad to receive money. So our family, Dad and I did that first guidebook and decided to have a book signing party on the farm, invite a few places in the book. Well, it rained and snowed and sleeted, and 1,000 people came to the farm.
Oh, wow.
We decided to give it a name. So we were on a family trip, and we were thinking what we're really doing is providing a sample of what there is to see, do, hear, buy, and learn in Kansas. Let's call it the Kansas Sampler Foundation. And maybe slightly regretful because early on people thought we were a quilt store.
Oh, I guess I'd never.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then, the Kansas Sampler stores, a lot of confusion with that.
Did you have to start making quilts and selling them? It's
funny, people made some quilts and gave them to us. And they're in some pictures of them. But our logo does look like a quilt.
Yeah, it looks like a square.
It's really to provide the public a sample of what Kansas is about.
Okay.
Good question.
Yeah. We talk about a lot with people. Simon Sinek Start With Why. And it's
Are you
familiar with that
what?
at all? Okay. Simon Sinek Start With Why.
Wow.
So it's a TED Talk put out by a thinker about 15, 20 years ago named Simon Sinek. And the basic premise is that the vast majority of organizations in the world communicate mostly what they do or how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
But a very small number of really effective ones communicate primarily their why.
Wow.
And when they do that effectively, the what and the how take care of themselves. And so it's really made a big impact on us and how we think.
The why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so good.
So when you think about Kansas Sampler and all the communities that you reach out to, do you think you get a lot of the what out of them, or do you think a lot of your conversations are why based?
I think it's mostly why.
Yeah.
Because it's like, to the doers, why do you have this will and gumption to put all your effort into this little town? And you're right, with their answer comes what they need, how we can help. If you ask them what they need, they're not always sure, but the answer is usually in the why. Yeah, most people are asked the what and the how. So you get all the good stuff with the why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
point.
One of the reasons I really love why is that it gets at this deep human need for belonging and involvement. And, it's not enough to just know what you're doing. You need to know why you're doing it, kind of. And, so I was in this cohort MBA program in Kansas City, and I was, there was a couple kind of rural connected people, but most of them are city folk. And when we were kind of sharing our bios and our involvement in things, I shared that I was on a couple nonprofit boards in the Salina area. And afterwards, I had several people come up to me and say, "How did you get on a board?" I'm like, what do you mean? How did you get on the board?
You just say, hey, I would love to be on the board.
Out here.
They must be from a big city, right?
And in small towns, like the opportunities for involvement come to you. You don't have to go look for them. And so that would be my message. If you're in a city and you're yearning for something more, like you don't even necessarily have to move home to make a big impact in involvement in one of these kinds of institutions. Like our involvement is it just happens when you're in a place as small as Salina, but even smaller places, it's even more so.
Gus, I'm so glad you said that because I had the opportunity during COVID really to interview by Zoom 175 21 to 39-year-olds.
Wow.
And many of them did tell me that they chose rural because they wanted to be somebody. They wanted to make a difference. Not be somebody like great. They just wanted to make a difference. They wanted to go somewhere where they could put a stamp on things. And I think that's one of those, it's hard to say what the worth of a small town is because people from a big city, you just don't know until you experience it, all the virtues. And one of them is you get to make a difference. And sometimes we have people in small that stay on the board too long.
Yeah.
Sometimes because there's not other people coming to fill those seats, right?
But, or they love it so much. And that's where we really need to encourage young people to find a different way then to get involved, to get your voice out there somehow. But we need you.
Yeah.
Young people, we need you.
Agreed.
How did you find you said 175?
Yeah.
How did you find that many people just willing to hop on? I guess no one was working at that time, so it was probably a little easier, but
yay, social media.
Yeah.
Put out a survey, and this was I did this for what became, or what was it, its fledgling time, the Office of Rural Prosperity out of the Kansas Department of Commerce.
Okay.
So I just did a survey and had 500 responses from every county, and just asked people if they'd be interested in doing an interview. And it was just maybe one of the top 3 best experiences of my work life, to be able to ask questions for a half hour. And boy, did they share. They shared their hearts, souls, the needs, the bads, the goods, the why they love it, what's tough. One woman said in a small town, I could be really happy. I just wish there was fresh lettuce and soft serve ice cream. And it just got down to that. I don't need a lot. But those two things,
fresh lettuce and soft serve ice cream.
Those two things would be really good.
We've had several conversations about food systems on the podcast recently, so that's relevant as well.
But those are improving too. That's another. I mean, some of my best conversations have been in grocery stores, and I learned one of the tricks early on to know if a town liked itself, let's say, was to go into a grocery store if a town was lucky enough to have one, and ask, do the locals support you? And if they would go wild either way. Yes, and then they'd go on and just rave about the virtues of their townspeople. And then everything else I would see or do in that town, that theme came through. Or they would just complain about their townspeople and say, no, they go to this or they go that. They're, just terrible. And then that theme would run through what else I experienced in the town. So that one question really opened. That was an easy, quick way to learn the pulse of the town.
How can anyone, really, doesn't have to be just Kansas, support Kansas Sampler?
Oh. Well, 2 ways. And the first one shows my Mennonite background, which is to go to the cause first. You can support our work by being an explorer, by going out to towns, by buying stamps, buying things in small grocery stores, just asking questions, finding a way to love Kansas. The trickle-down effect is amazing. The other small way, join the Kansas Explorers Club. 1861, the year Kansas became a state, is our individual membership fee. And now paper and stamps have gone up, so there's not much margin left. But really, you can go to kansassampler.org, and we really need support. We're trying to hire more staff because there is so much work to do in ways that it isn't done by state agencies or others. We try to get at the heart of the matter and are able to, because that's what a nonprofit can do. And we want to help towns that want to help themselves. We want to help them be the best at being themselves. We say it that way because not all towns are alike. They're all different. So just be good at being you. And we also think that creating that audience, because sometimes small grocery stores or retail shops, the population isn't enough to help them make it. So we need lots of people exploring around the state and feeling good about spending money to make it. But we really do need support. Thank you for asking that. I'm really good at talking about Kansas, but really not good at talking about what we really need.
If you had a message for Kansas in general, other than go explore, go support, which we've been talking about, what do you think that would be?
Oh, to be proud of ourselves, proud of the things that are hard to see and notice, to just keep, it's like I said before, Kansas has we're stereotyped, we have reputations, people think we don't have a lot to offer, but for those people who are willing to look deeper and be curious and ask the why, I love living in this state, and I want others to love living here. The message is, how can we all either work together or just do your own thing to help make Kansas a place to love?
Love that.
My wife and I saw the new Superman movie over the weekend, and one of our things I don't think we often talk about is Smallville and the relationship to Kansas that Superman has. And I was struck, there's a number of things in the movie, and it's, Kansas plays a very small role, just, kind of his hometown. The depiction of his parents, they had a little bit more of an accent than Kansans tend to have.
Okay.
I could go on and on about that.
The highway references weren't quite right.
Oh.
I-5 is not in Kansas, as far as I'm aware. But it did play a more meaningful role in some ways, and that was that Clark Kent, or Superman's parents, are kind of a moral compass to some extent in the film, and really reorient him about what's important in his life. And I was touched by that these quote unquote simpletons, at least in the way they're depicted, that they actually are tapping into some of the deeper things that are really more important. And so, I just wanted to share that. I don't know why, but it felt relevant to the discussion we've had so far.
I'm still stuck on the I-5 thing.
Sorry.
It goes like 5:15. No, right?
And I could have
misheard. Because 35's in the middle.
but-
Because the 5s are east to west.
And
The odd
And
numbers
the
are one way, and the even
numbers are the other way.
Yeah.
And it's probably just bad hearing. That's probably the actual answer to that.
Now I'm going to figure it out because that's a basic Google on Hollywood's part.
Yeah. Come on. Those simple things.
Anyway.
But, I've lived in Philadelphia area and Madison, Wisconsin, and I loved that. But it is just sitting around with what others call the simpletons. Those are the best people. Mm-hmm. I think I love that because it's there's so much more there, and the way they come out for each other and when they need to. And my hope is that we start being there for each other when we don't need to. Just because we should.
That's super powerful because we've talked a little bit on the podcast about how for some reason it takes some form of either natural disaster or attack or something for everyone to come together on one solid thing. Mm-hmm. And it shouldn't have to be that way.
Yeah, so what's the call? What's the call to action that can generate that without it being a program or a strategy? It just has to happen.
Yeah.
So when you figure it out, let me know.
I guess my answer to that question is I want to see Kansas think of itself as a community.
And not individual communities.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
important that each town and each group of people, but that all of us in our little rectangle have things in common, have shared hopes and dreams and aspirations for ourselves, but also for our greater community. And I think the better we can communicate those and work together and partner with, there's so many people doing good things in Kansas. If the more we communicate, the more we share, like you're doing on your social media, I think the more fruit that tree can bear.
I'm going to be sharing that you said that, or else I'm going to just steal it.
Whichever. It's
but I love that, that's what we should be, because all these little towns, the collective is much stronger. And I like that, Gus.
Good. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm out of questions.
Yeah. There's so many more things we could talk about, and really appreciate your time coming in to talk with us today, Marci.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking this, Kansan.
And we will have to have you back if you have anything particular you'd ever like to talk about, or towns that you want to bring to the spotlight. Let us know.
Wow.
Yeah.
When you go on the road, almost every trip produces story after story. So when you have a lull, just let me know.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. You're really good at asking questions.
Oh, appreciate that.
I have my days. Today maybe wasn't.
No,
that's
you did fine.
Want to spread your organization's message across Kansas? Consider becoming a sponsor. Ask A Kansan has a unique focus on Kansas and its people. By sponsoring our podcast, your organization can reach people from Canaredo to Kansas City, Wichita to Washington, and all the great places in between. We have a variety of sponsorship packages available to fit your budget and needs. For more information, visit askakansan.com/sponsorships or call us at 785-571-9507.
Hope you enjoyed that interview with Marci Penner of Kansas Sampler Foundation. I thought it was really fun to learn a little bit more about her and how she got into doing what she does.
I like that we were able to get really deep into rural Kansas and to the people that she's talked to. Because when you think about it, I live in McPherson. We're a population of 14,000. Technically, that's a small city, but there are towns in our great state that are only, 500 people, 1,000 people, 1,500 people. And they still have the same passion that even these bigger cities have. And so we have to remember that when we're traveling. It's not just, supporting local communities, but understanding why they're still here.
And giving them a voice and a leg up. When they need help, giving them resources beyond the confines of their geography to help them fill their needs. I think, yeah, I would encourage you to go check out Marci's social media just because it's funny to see, and not just funny, but meaningful to see all the different people she's connecting.
Yeah. And check out the Kansas Sampler Foundation website. We'll put it on the screen here because I don't know it off the top of my head, but it is a really great website. It's beautifully laid out. You'll get you can visit their about page, how you can support them, what programs they're doing.
See their guidebooks.
Yep. See their guidebooks.
Kind of the definitive Kansas guidebooks.
Yes.
So, yeah. Well, are you ready for another exciting rendition of Where in the Rectangle?
Yes.
Today, we're going to be putting you to a little bit of a different challenge.
Okay.
You're going to be working on the 8 Wonders of Kansas.
Oh, no.
So back in 2007, the Kansas Sampler Foundation, Marci's organization, organized a statewide contest to identify the most iconic, awe-inspiring, and beloved landmarks in our state. After months of public nominations, expert judging, and more than 100,000 votes, they announced the official 8 Wonders of Kansas, a list meant to showcase the depth and beauty of this beautiful rectangle we call home. Okay, so the way this is going to work is I'm going to show you one, and you first need to guess what it is.
Okay.
Okay? All right, first one is up.
Oh, we just talked about this one.
We did.
That's the well in Greensburg?
Well done. Yes, built in 1887 to supply water to the Santa Fe Railroad. It's the largest hand-dug well in the world, 109 feet deep, 32 feet wide, and excavated entirely by hand. And yeah, so let's look at the rectangle next.
Okay.
One second. Next slide, please.
Okay. Oh gosh.
Okay. A little fast in the draw there, Merlin, but that's okay. Okay. So that
was in Kiowa.
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 Yes. Kiowa County. Yep. Greensburg. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Next one.
Oh, I feel like we just talked about this too in one of the last episodes with like Ryan. Are these the wetlands that I don't remember the name of?
Mm-hmm.
Cheyenne, maybe.
Cheyenne Bottoms. Good job.
Woo!
Yes.
Oh my gosh, these are my listening skills coming to real play.
Okay, go one slide further. So, located in central Kansas, this is a key stopover on the Central Flyway, with hundreds of thousands of migrating birds passing through each year. Birders and nature lovers come from around the world to witness the seasonal spectacle, and it's 14,000 acres. And 14, it is the largest wetland in the central United States. So it's incredibly important. And where is it?
Oh, no. I want to say Barton, but I don't think that's right.
I'm going to say you went with Barton because I think that's correct. Next slide. Yeah.
Oh,
Barton,
it is Barton.
You got it. Yep.
I thought it was going to be Ford, but
nope.
Okay.
No, you nailed it. All right. Next one.
That's a lot closer than I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is, oh, geez. It's in Hutch, Reno County.
Mm-hmm.
Why can I not think of it? Cosmosphere.
Good job. Yep. All right. Very impressive.
Yep.
We can keep going. There we go. Good.
Oh, and that's the Dwight D. Eisenhower library or museum in Abilene, which is, I'm trying to go through these. Ellsworth County, right?
Close.
Rice. Where is it in?
What county are we in?
Oh, it was Saline County.
And then which direction is Abilene from?
It's in Dickinson County.
There we go.
I went the wrong way.
Okay, very good. Next one. On our fifth one. This one gets a little harder.
Oh, this is, I've been here, but
there's technically 2 locations here.
Oh.
They're combined to make one of the 8 wonders.
I've been to, gosh, what is that called? I've been here.
I'm realizing that I've forgotten to give some more information. So I'm going to let you think on that for a second. And I'm just going to go back to the Cosmosphere just briefly.
Yeah.
And tell you that it's one of the world's top space museums, part of the Smithsonian. It's also the location where a lot of space memorabilia is is fixed up and reconditioned for display. And then obviously the Eisenhower Presidential Library and Museum in Abilene is where President Eisenhower is buried and also holds all of the records from his administration. Yeah. That brings us back to this. Where are we, Sydney?
I don't remember the name of it.
Okay, so this is Monument Rock.
Monument Rocks.
On the left and Castle Rock on the right. And so I'm going to let you think about where this is.
It's either Gray or Ford.
Rising more than 70 feet above the Kansas plains, these chalk formations were formed from an ancient inland sea over 80 million years ago. Fossils of sea creatures can still be found in the area. It's Kansas's first national natural landmark, and it's one of the most surreal things in Kansas.
I'm going to go Ford County.
Good guess. It's actually in Gove County.
Oh. I was nowhere close. I thought, okay.
All right. Our next one is this building.
Oh, gosh. I don't know.
This is a tough one. So if you're ever on I-70 driving towards Hayes, you will see this to the south. This is called the Cathedral of the Plains, formerly known as the Basilica of St. Fidelis in Victoria, Kansas. I just gave it away.
Victoria. Okay.
But you still have to guess where it is.
Well, I know we're all over the place. I knew Victoria is around Hayes. So yeah, Ellis County.
What's really cool about it is that it's built of native limestone hauled by hand. And it's super tall for a limestone structure. All right, we can go on to the next one.
Yep. That is the salt mine, just because I've been there in the last 6 months in Hutch.
Otherwise known as Stratica, the underground salt museum. This
Reno
is located 650 feet beneath the surface, and it is a working salt mine turned museum. Visitors can descend into a network of tunnels carved from 275 million-year-old Permian salt bed. Yep. I went there for the first time this year and thought it was really interesting.
Really cool.
And finally, let's see if you can guess this one.
Oh, that is... I've been here too. It's like the tall grass prairie national something
preserve. We'll give it to you. Yes. And this is so less than 4% of America's original tall grass prairie remains. And this preserve protects one of the last large stretches with free roaming bison, miles of trails, and stunning Flint Hill views. It is an immersive step into a landscape that once dominated the heartland. And I want to say that they actually named all of the Flint Hills as another one of the wonders. Yeah. So it wasn't just that. But yeah, what county do you think the National Preserve is in?
It's either Chase or Lyon.
Chase. Well done. So that is all the time we have for today for Where in the Rectangle. And there's all of our 8. Reno somehow managed to get 2. Which I'm a big fan of both Stratica and the Cosmosphere, so power to them. And with that brings us to the end of another episode of Ask A Kansan.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, you can help us by following, subscribing, liking, commenting, and most importantly, just sharing with a friend. If you know somebody who you think might want to revisit their Kansas roots or might want to connect with somebody else in Kansas, we would love to have them as a viewer or listener.
Perfect. Join us next time. New email, info@askakansan.com if you have any questions, concerns, comments, or go to our website, askakansan.com, and reach out to us there.
Perfect. Thank you.
Bye.